Kandia with Kandia Haynesworth Designs, and I am in the official classroom for the Sew to Show workshops. Today I'm going to show you how to put on these ears for this giraffe design that I have already done about 3 or 4 videos on, but today we are going to attach the ears simply by sewing them on. Okay, now I did previous videos showing you how to make the ears. I did a review on this embroidery design itself, and once again I thought that appliquecorner.com did a wonderful job on the embroidery design. This is super cute. However, once again, I thought they missed the mark of getting a grade A because they didn't have instructions on how to attach the ears. And when I did a previous video, I was doing another order, but this is a different order, and someone had inboxed me and said, well, it's real simple. All you have to do is use a towel and loop it through. Well, you know what? It's simple for someone who knows how to do something opposed to a newbie, a person who's a beginning in this embroidery industry and doing appliques. It's not simple when you don't know and you don't have a clue on what your next step is. So I will do a video doing that, and I'm going to show you how to attach them, being that the previous videos that I showed before was done using the process that I'm going to show you today. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a straight cutting tool. It could be a box cutter like so. It could be an X-Acto knife. You're going to need scissors. I have a variety here because when you cut through the slot here, you're going to need something to really trim down those fibers, and I'm a bit fussy, so I don't know which one is going to work for me today, so I just pulled out 3 variety of them. You're going to need some straight pins, and for this particular project you are going to need your sewing machine. Let's get started. All right, so you're going to lay your towel out on a flat surface. Make sure that it's not doubled, and once again, it is on a flat surface. You can also use a cutting rotary board if you are using a sharp tool like a X-Acto knife or a blade. This way it would be forgiving. But I'm actually going to do this on the craft table, the sewing tables in my studio, and they take a beating anyway, so it doesn't matter. You're just going to carefully just draw a line and just start to form your opening like so, and you want to make sure that you do not go across that brow there or that lash there, because you don't want to cut your super cute embroidery design. Okay, so I'm just going to just cut it, and then what happens is when you got a nice opening, you can go in there with your scissors and you can cut it completely open and cut down those fibers. Okay, so after you've done that a couple of times, you should be able to kind of lift it and get that blade inside of that hole, and that's how you will know, that you have, made a nice opening. Then you'll probably have to go back and just, reinforce that hole opening. So you see how now I'm able to just, bring my blade back and forth through. Okay, so now you want to take your scissors, and once again I have taken out 3 different kinds of scissors because I'm a bit fussy with scissors and sometimes they don't work. So I'm just going to just open it up a little bit, and I just want to kind of trim some of those fibers down. Okay, otherwise they're gonna be showing. Okay, you don't want them to show. You don't want to cut too much off before you get the ears through, but I already know that this is too much of an excess, so I'm just cutting it off. And some of the stabilizer is still on the back of this. Okay, so that helps you. So you see now I actually have an official opening. Can you see that? That it's officially opened. That's where your ears are gonna go through. Okay, so I just want to make sure that it is that corner is not going to be a problem. So once again, I'm just trimming it down here. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing to the other ear hole, and then we will slide it through. Okay, so now that I have both openings for the ears, I am going to take my ear that we made in the previous video, just kind of reinforce it a little bit. I'm not going to tie it too tight because remember, it has to be the width of these ears. So I'm just going to actually thread it through from the bottom. So I'm going to lift it up and then lift it up like so. And I'm going to bring the ear through from the bottom like so. And because we cut out 6-inch squares, I have a little bit room if I want to make a little ear, if I want to make a big ear, you have a little room. Okay, so I think that that's cute enough. I'm just going to, I don't want really big ears, so that's cute enough. And then I'm going to take the other one and do the same thing, lift it under and then bring that that ear through like so. And the one thing you want to make sure is that your ears are the same size. You don't want one big ear and one little ear. Okay, and so far so good. Now we have to just tack it down like with pins before we actually sew it into place. So far very cute, huh? Okay, so even though we have this area of the towel bleeding through, we can try to trim that down some, but that's the area that we're actually going to cover with the sewing machine stitches. But in the meantime, take a couple of pins and just tack that ear down into place. Okay, you don't need a lot, but you need about maybe 2 or 3. Okay, and you want to kind of tack it down exactly the way it is forming. And I love the way the crimps are. I love that look of the crimps in the ears. So that's how you want to kind of tack it down in place if you can. All right, and now I'm using actually about 3 pins, which is should prove good enough. Okay, so what's going to happen is when we go to sew, we're going to sew these crimps in place permanently, and we're going to cover that fraying edge of the towel. And so before I take it to the sewing machine, I am actually just going to see if I can get it a little bit closer without cutting your embroidery stitches. You want to really take your time with this part. And I know that people are probably saying, okay, she's making this way too involved. But remember, this is going to be a permanent tack down. So this is not going to be something that's removable. And so I want to make it as less stressful when I am covering these stitches. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just take my fray check. And I'm just going to drop a few drops of furry check there. Even though I'm going to be stitching over it, I just want to make sure that I've done everything that I can to secure this design and my ears. And so I have my fray check, and once again, you can buy this material at any kind of sewing center. And I'm just going to just drop a few drops. I don't want to cover the camera, but drop a few drops like so. I'm going to give that a couple of minutes to set, and then we're going to sew a satin stitch right over that edge. And I'm going to do the same process to the other ear. Okay, so today I'm using the Brother & Novus 2500D. I've already set it to a zigzag stitch, but I would recommend that you do a test stitch on a piece of scrap fabric prior to taking your towel to your sewing machine, okay? So to do a test stitch, you want to look at the width, you want to look at the length, okay? And you want to try to match the satin stitch that you are going to create according to the towel ears around the outline of the ear holes. Okay, so I found the perfect width and the perfect length, okay, and it's just a standard 3.5 millimeter width and a 1.4 millimeter length, okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let me just get like a little pointer so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to use a pin as a pointer. So I'm going to pair up this area right here, okay, with my presser foot and my needle, okay, and then I'm going to do a satin stitch simply by allowing the sewing machine to stitch slowly, okay, and the stitch width and the stitch length is going to make this happen. All right, so I'm going to put the presser foot down, the needle in place, and just start, and I'm going to guide this right over that fraying edge, and you'll be able to see it. Okay, so it's going to literally blend in with the embroidery. Now, one of the things that I didn't mention is you want to use the same thread that you used in your embroidery machine, okay? So you want to make sure that your bobbin, your thread on the bottom and your thread on the top is the same exact spool. So if it's a large spool you're using for a multi-needle, take it off, put it on a thread stand, and if it's a small spool, you don't have a problem. But this is how you are going to have this literally blend in like so. And you want to maneuver it around and make sure that those fraying edges are being covered. And you might have to do this a couple of times if you are not happy with the way it looks. So we'll see. This is the first time around. So let me just lift up my okay, so we almost got it. I just have to go in and do this area right here. Okay, but so far, you see how I was able to cover that fraying edge. I'm just going to take it back and then do a satin stitch right here, and then this ear will be done. Alright, so your giraffe is on with your satin stitch. Alright, so now you have to turn it over and you have to clean up the back of it, okay? Because remember, we had 2 pull strings, and this is what it will look like. And you just want to have a sharp pair of scissors and just kind of trim that off as close as possible. Okay, and you're also going to use fray check for these, the ends of this as well. Okay, because even though your ears is up here nice and tightly and they're not going anywhere, believe me, but those tight satin stitches that you have put on the other side, this fabric is not going anywhere. Someone would have to literally cut it off. Okay, but you just want it, you know, nice and close, and then you're going to just literally just drop your fray check drops of it on this finished edge here. And so I ran out of tape here. Okay, so you just want to make sure once again that this is cut very closely. And like I said, you want to drop some drops of a few drops of fray check right here. And this is already laying down on the fabric nice and flat. So that's why you want to cut it as close as possible. Okay, and once again, it's not going anywhere. This is very securely with those satin stitches. But you always want to give it a little extra protection. And then of course you want to take out all of this excess stabilizer around the eyes and so forth. Okay, and then if you have a tag, you add your tag on. And fold it up nice and neatly as we did, and how to present it. And you can use the idea of the bag idea, or you know, if you have a nice ribbon or way to present it, you can present it any kind of way that you know you feel is presentable. But it always, in my opinion, should be different, and it should be a wow factor. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining in on how to apply these ears using the permanent way. There is going to be another tutorial because I actually do have another order, not for the giraffe, but a very similar design. And guess what? It's by appliquecorner.com, the design that I got it. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to use the method that everyone was telling me about. And once again, this was not to badmouth anyone. I think that appliquecorner.com did a wonderful job on this embroidery design. But as business owners, if we sell products to customers, we have to be willing to accept feedback, whether it's good, bad, or in between. We cannot be only happy when things go well, because we don't grow that way. So if I am up here saying that I felt that they missed the mark, and I've had other people who are new into the embroidery industry say, you know what, Kandia, I didn't even think about that until you posted the video. I had one person send me an inbox and said she absolutely loved the pictures and couldn't wait until I shared where I got it from, until she realized that she would have been stuck too. You know, it's nothing like discovering you don't have the next step, or you are in a bad position after you've spent your money, okay? And it doesn't take away from what Applique Corner did with this design. I can't say it enough how magnificently created it was. but that step is very important. So I can only hope that if Applique Corner team members have seen any of these videos, they don't feel sore about it or have any bad feelings. They should be grateful that someone is saying that you did a good job. However, it could have been an even better job if instructions were included. No need to send me nasty messages, because at the end of the day, I paid my money and I have the right to share my experiences with my viewers. And just as when people buy things from me, they have the right to share their experiences about my company and what they think about my work. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining in. And until then, I'll see you next time.